Breaking today, the final traces of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the British royal family are being erased.
She knows that in 2027 she wants all eyes on her. She wants the royal family to be at the Invictus Games, and I think that for her that is crucial, because if we think about it, the Sussexes' only real tangible value is their proximity to the royal family. So if she can kind of be the star of the Invictus Games in 2 years' time, that gives her another 5 years of press, of deals and money making. So it's all part of a grand plan, I think.
Now, this is a big problem. This is on top of Harry having lost his court case against the Daily Mail. You've got bankruptcy looming with a house that may just get blown into the sea. They can't afford that house. They're living beyond their means. They're ruined.
Breaking news today reveals that the last remnants of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's ties to the British royal family are being wiped away more definitively than ever before. The Duchess, often dubbed the Salty Duchess, has just landed a brand new entry in the Urban Dictionary, an unofficial term that brilliantly captures the current rollercoaster they're facing: un-Sussexful. It's a word that perfectly sums up the tangled web of setbacks and challenges surrounding the Sussexes. And here's the kicker: you cannot debate it, you cannot plead your case, and you certainly can't appeal it at this stage. The chance to request a review has been postponed until after the crushing legal costs are finalized, meaning Harry can't even ask for a second opinion until that daunting invoice arrives. So, what exactly was said behind the courtroom doors, nearly 3,000 miles away from where Harry's own kitchen sits? The publisher's lawyer demanded a staggering £9,950,000 as an initial payment, with a tight 14-day deadline under an indemnity basis, basically a firm handshake on money owed if they lose.
Harry has sued the Daily Mail for what he claims to have been unlawful information gathering 15 years ago. Well, it's been thrown out by the judge, and it's likely to cost Harry up to $10 million. It is money that he simply hasn't got.
The Salty Duchess has just managed to get a new word into the Urban Dictionary, and this word, I think, could sum up quite a lot of what the Sussexes are currently going through. Un-Sussexful.
Harry's team countered with an offer of £8 million and agreed that a costs order would follow the judgment, which is legal speak for "we accept defeat, please go easy on us." Now, brace yourself for the full eye-popping figure. The total bill is a jaw-dropping £34.5 million. And here's the moment that even made Harry's lead barrister pause in disbelief. The cost overruns alone amounted to a shocking £18.6 million, far exceeding the court's originally approved budget. Nicholas Bacon KC described the amount as eye-watering and astonishingly high, adding that the opposing side appeared to be aiming to deliver a decisive financial blow. Between all 7 parties involved, there's insurance covering just £16.2 million, meaning nearly £18 million is left hanging with no backing whatsoever. The publisher's own statement on the day they lost the case admitted this legal battle has drained their resources faster than anyone anticipated. Over £50 million were racked up in legal fees alone, a staggering mountain of court hours devoted to this case, with the firm intention from the other side to claw every penny back. Imagine that.
It's a problem, but also let's not forget Sentabali is gone, but they're still suing him. So that case coming up for defamation, and won't that be interesting to see if it settles or not?
The judge in this case, a man called Matthew Nicklin, was the same judge who dismissed Harry's case against the Mail on Sunday, the negotiations at Sandringham about protection, and said that Harry had lied in his statement in that case. So he had form of not being, so to speak, enthralled to the royal family. Now Harry has lost now 2 cases in front of Nicklin. He's not going to risk a third.
£50 million spent on a lawsuit where the judge painstakingly reviewed 97 individual claims and dismissed every single one without exception. Then, just as the hearing was about to close, Nicklin dropped a final line that sent chills through the courtroom. It was as cold and decisive as anything you'll hear. He declared, unequivocally, that Prince Harry would be required to pay a sum of money which the judgment would specify not might, not maybe, he absolutely would be liable. The only mystery left to solve was how much of the total bill would be pinned on him personally. Picture that. A man living in a sprawling 9-bedroom mansion in Santa Barbara County, nervously hitting refresh on a court listing webpage, waiting for some anonymous figure in a wig to reveal just how much of his late mother's inheritance had just vanished into thin air. You honestly couldn't make up a moment more surreal than that. But here's where the gravity of the situation sinks in. This wasn't just Harry's fight.
There isn't a laundry in the cosmos to wash all the dirty linen he has aired about his own family.
I mean, Harry just gave him a playbook. The Daily Mail just wants to throw the book at him, and I understand why.
For him to complain about his privacy being invaded takes not just the biscuit, but the whole tin. Poor Harry. I feel sorry for the way a confused and angry young man has been drawn into this case.
The other issue is what it means for him and Meghan, because she's not going to be happy that he's picked this fight with the Daily Mail and once again lost. And she's going to suffer because the two of them are now even more broke.
He was claimant number 6 out of 7 in this high-profile case. Think about the names involved. Say them slowly. Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Sir Elton John and his husband David Furnish, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, and Sir Simon Hughes. Every single one of their claims had been dismissed. All 97 allegations eradicated in a single sweeping judgment handed down on July 7th. And here's another twist. Nicklin wasn't doling out 7 separate bills for each claimant. Instead, he issued one enormous, consolidated figure, which would later be divided among the 7 parties. So far, Doreen Lawrence has no idea how much she now owes. Elton John is left in the dark about his balance, and the others are just as uncertain about their share of this astronomical debt.
Who will cover those costs? Will Elton John, in the end, pay for the whole lot? I don't know if Harry has any money. If he does, is it the last of his mother's inheritance?
Could be up to $10 million. If any number of millions is money Harry hasn't got.
I don't think Harry has any money at the moment. I really don't. I've heard that he's trying to drum up another Netflix series of some kind. I know he's lost his contract with them, but he needs to find some cash from somewhere, especially now, today of all days.
But he didn't get that. This is a total destruction of his case and I believe his reputation today. The problem I've got with him is he keeps on trying to destroy other people's lives. This idea that he wanted to destroy them is quite shocking to me.
They soon discover exactly what he owes the moment he steps forward. Now, picture the woman at the very top of that list, Baroness Lawrence. For over 30 years, she has tirelessly transformed her son's heartbreaking story into a powerful movement for police reform, inspiring a major public inquiry and sparking meaningful change across the nation. She's not just a figure, she's a global symbol of resilience and determination. And yet, right now, her name is tied to a shared cost order alongside a man based in California, someone who brazenly claims the entire verdict was just a blatant whitewash. This brings us to the part that should send chills down the spines of anyone who's ever blindly trusted a friend's word and signed on the dotted line. After that ruling came down, Harry didn't retreat into silence. Instead, he released a fiery statement, calling the judgment a total and unmistakable whitewash. But just 10 days later,
Games were hosted in September 2023 by the city of Dusseldorf, Germany, alongside the Invictus Games Foundation. The only involvement of Canada was to help fund the veterans go there. But that's it. British Columbia government to provide the full unredacted reports. And this includes almost $11 million in expenses allocated towards Harry and Meghan. Why was Meghan getting almost $6.7 million in expenses?
The Mark Dolan Show has invented the MMV. What is that? It is the Meghan mind virus. And if Harry comes back to England, he'll be cured of it. That's why King Charles is so excited at the prospect of getting Harry back without Megs. So this is very interesting.
Standing in the courtroom before the judge, the publisher's barrister held up that very statement like a weapon. He labeled it completely inappropriate and utterly unreasonable, and he said all this while demanding that the costs be increased on a punitive scale. Take a moment to absorb what this actually means. The words, spoken loudly and defiantly, may have pushed the legal bill higher, not just for him, but for a woman who has devoted 3 decades to seeking justice for her son, and for a man who has spent his entire life raising funds for causes that aren't even his own. He asked those supporters to stand behind him, and when they did, He handed them the bill without hesitation. The audacity is staggering. And here's another revealing fact. No media outlet in this corner of the internet has dared to speak those 6 names aloud this month. Now, at last, you understand why. Back to Birmingham. And this moment is one that will linger in your mind.
£29 million was given by the government. He is supposed to match or exceed that. He, again, as we all know, $4 million has been raised, and that trip to England was not successful. He did not reel in a major sponsor like Boeing. He did not really get any more money than he already had. In fact, it was just a disaster on every level except for the personal level.
Keep in mind that Harry's not named in any of the legal documents for Invictus Games Foundation UK or in any of the little grifts that he has going, either in British Columbia, in Dusseldorf, even the one in the UK.
It was the 10th of July, exactly 1 year away from the grand opening of the Games in Birmingham. She was supposed to be there, booked in on the schedule. Then, just days before, without explanation, she pulls out. He stands alone, pacing the room, and those organizing the event, we're told, finally exhaled in relief. When Harry attends solo, as the saying goes, the spotlight stays exactly where he wants it, on the veterans. Now, pay close attention, not to opinions or drama, but simply to the timeline. Just the dates. I won't add my own commentary here. Let me lay them out clearly. May 28th. ATCO signs on as the international flag partner for the Games. July 10th, she doesn't show up. Then, July 13th, just 3 days later, Land Rover commits as the official automotive partner and presenting partner of the wheelchair rugby. Meanwhile, Deloitte is already firmly on board as an official partner.
Obviously, Harry's the problem. Everyone said it. Everyone knows it except for Harry. It doesn't matter, though.
Paula, it seems that when it comes to Invictus's problems, Harry is at the heart of that. You know, Harry made Invictus, and somehow he's the guy that's breaking it.
Some people have wrongly claimed that Harry has to, or the Invictus Games Foundation has to raise £26 million in order for them to get the 26 millions that the UK government offered. That is an absolute lie.
And Boeing has secured its multi-year partnership with the foundation through 2027. 25 nations are confirmed to participate, with 550 competitors and an expected crowd of 150,000 through the gates. Remarkably, there was a 56% increase in participation in just 1 year. Yet, during this same month, every commentator across Britain insisted the sponsors were fleeing the scene. The truth? They weren't running anywhere, they were simply waiting for her to leave the room. This is a detail that should deeply concern both of them, though I'm not convinced either truly grasps it yet. For 6 years, their narrative was all about their own value, that the cameras pointed only at them, that any organization fortunate enough to be associated was the one winning. The accused individuals grabbed all the headlines, dominating the news cycle with one clear message: either include us or risk being forgotten entirely. Meanwhile, tucked away behind the scenes, a veterans charity quietly conducted an important experiment.
The UK government made a commitment to give them up to £26.6 million for the Birmingham 2027 Invictus Games. And it's structured as a financial underwrite. What does that mean? It means that if Harry can't, or if Invictus Games Foundation can't fundraise the amount they need in order to host the games in Birmingham, then the government has assured them £26.6 million.
I mean, Paula, we can't exaggerate this. In terms of branding, no Invictus, no Harry.
It's harsh, but the issue is Invictus needs oversight. Somebody needs to be able to look at people and say, this is where your money goes. This is why we need £60 million for 500 people to play some games. Instead of saying, you know, like the Department of Defense in the US does, we do it for 2 to 3 million every year.
One that never gained public attention because the key figure didn't show up. Then, within just 72 hours, a global car giant stepped in and stamped its name on the wheelchair rugby event, announced proudly in a press release, available for anyone to read, but strangely, no one in that organization has ever publicly shared or celebrated it. The story only deepens from here. Questions swirl about whether the board has the power to remove Harry from Invictus Games. The truth? They never could because he was never officially part of the board. He holds no trustee position, no seat at the table, no voting power, no salary, and no control over a single dollar of its budget. To add another layer, Birmingham 2027 operates completely independently, managed by its own company with separate leadership, a chairman and a chief executive, neither of whom is Harry. Curious about who truly runs what he calls his life's work.
Now, Invictus is a problem because, like it was with Sentabali, his personal brand and him and Meghan are impeding fundraising for Invictus. So he did come. The summer, part of the reason, one of the biggest reasons, was to help raise money for Invictus. As we all know,
these are reports with taxpayers' money. It's a ticking time bomb. This is an amazingly shocking turn of events for Harry, and it's like the walls are closing in on this idiot, isn't it? And it's about time that he pays the piper.
The foundation is headed by Lord Allen of Kensington as chairman and Rob Owen as chief executive. Birmingham 2027, meanwhile, is under the leadership of Vicky Gosling as chair and Helen Helliwell as the chief executive managing daily operations. 4 key figures hold real authority over the finances, venues, and contracts, none of whom are Harry. Not a single one needs to answer his calls. For him, it's all just a photo on the wall, and that wall is now starting to take on a new look. So, where does Invictus really find its funding? After a dozen years of Harry talking about what he built, let's see who's actually writing the checks. On March 6 this year, an official record showed the answer is put to rest in Parliament. The government has formally committed to backing £26 million for the Birmingham project. The language used is deliberately specific, crafted to guarantee the games will proceed, even if the necessary commercial sponsorship fails to materialize. Take a moment to let that sink in. Years before the event, the Ministry of Defense sat down, assessed the individual leading this ambitious undertaking, and drafted a backup plan to cover him if he didn't meet the targets. Then, just like that,
What you described about Buckingham Palace's detailed breakdown is actually a matter of a breakdown of trust. The point about Harry was, can we trust him? And because of all the briefing and the reversals and all the somersaults, what they're really saying is, we cannot deal with this. We don't trust Sessions.
I've got a solution.
Go on.
If Harry ceases to be involved in the Invictus Games, all the sponsors will be back. Just imagine if Sir David Beckham was the head of the Invictus.
Oh, wow.
It'll be bigger than the World Cup. Similarly, what about the amazing Mike Tyndall if he was the head of Invictus? They will literally, and Airbus. All of those guys will be back.
they filed it away and returned to business as usual. Now rewind to 2014. The iconic copper box, the grand launch, the keynote speech, and that unmistakable, confident grin. Behind the scenes, £500,000 came from a royal charity dedicated to supporting wounded servicemen, while an additional £1 million surfaced, courtesy of penal fines taken from banking institutions' funds unlocked by the Chancellor of the Exchequer as part of financial penalties. This combination, a royal foundation, a treasury windfall from confiscated bank fines, and support from the Ministry of Defence, was the fuel that ignited the whole endeavour. Fast forward 12 years, 3 distinct funding streams, yet remarkably, not a single penny from any of those sources has actually been spent on the project. He has never once been faced with the reality of covering those costs himself.
Let's see who are the trustees in that. Let's see if Prince Harry's name is there. Of course, Prince Harry's name is not there, which means that anything that's shady, he's not legally responsible, even if it gets millions of pounds in funds. So far, the UK government has given them £3,339,779.
Also, he has Africa Parks, let's not forget that, which he refuses to step down from, despite proven allegations of rangers raping members of the Baka tribe. So he's just saying, no, everyone will forget about that, which is why I like to just bring it up every single time.
But on August 28th, the curtain finally lifts. The truth breaks free. And in the one instance where he was tasked with securing the funding personally, He travelled all the way back to Britain that summer, navigated social events, posed for photos, worked every angle. Paula Froelic's estimates place Birmingham's commercial revenue at roughly £4 million from around 11 sponsors. Compare that to the £26 million government safety net already in place. He crossed 4,000 miles just to pitch the venture bearing his own name, only to reveal the enormous gap between expectations and reality. He couldn't secure the sponsorship that everyone was certain he would land. As we linger on those financial records, a question from the summer lingers, one that no one has yet answered. Over the course of a single year, the foundation's income surged by a staggering 41%. Its cash reserves ballooned to an impressive $2.3 million, yet the funds actually reaching veterans organizations plummeted by a shocking 63%. To put numbers to it, the amount dropped from £534,000 down to just £200,000. That's a huge.
Well, it's starting to look, and you know as well as I do, that those veterans are total heroes. Heroes in their public service, risking their lives to stand up for Western freedoms. Heroes again in this amazing sporting endeavor. So we love the veterans. But Invictus itself now, it's just become quite a tainted brand. And I wonder whether Harry is the problem. He may be on the hook for $10, $15, $20 million of legal expenses for the Daily Mail. The other charitable stuff is not happening. Centre Barley, he's lost control of it. The Archwell Foundation has effectively been shuttered. All he's got is Invictus.
£334,000 money that used to support wounded soldiers now disappearing, funneled somewhere else entirely. Froelich, who has meticulously examined these accounts more deeply than anyone else in the industry, laid it out bluntly. "We don't truly understand how it operates," she admitted. "It's all quite vague. What's more, critical documents are heavily redacted, blacked out again and again, within a charity whose full purpose is to aid wounded servicemen. It's baffling." And then, as if walking straight back into the middle of this mystery, comes a familiar name, someone well known inside the organization, where they had already coined a telling nickname for the entire scandal. Then came Tom Bower's explosive book, released in the spring, serialized in the Sunday Times, peeling back layers of drama with the kind of detail that no furious denials could wipe away. This isn't just some anonymous rumor, it's a specific name at the center of it all.
So now he's going back in September and is going to once again try to drum up some cash. It's also the reason why he did the big front page in the Mirror of let the world see us together, because he needs Daddy to be associated with Invictus kind of again. The royals were there when it was under the royal umbrella, but he needs Daddy to be there to raise money and to say the king will be there, so then people will open up some wallets.
Take it with a pinch of salt and question it, because as always with the Sussexes, and in particular Meghan, who is pathologically transactional, nothing happens by accident. So this issue comes amid continuing speculation about the separate professional lives being pursued by Harry and Meghan.
Dominic Reed. Reed led the Invictus Games Foundation as chief executive from 2014 all the way through 2025, 11 years at the helm. Bower paints him as the key insider, the voice inside the walls of the foundation who feared the entire operation had morphed into nothing more than the Harry and Meghan show. Bower's own words describe the spectacle Harry and Meghan brought. Bling, not rehabilitation. The book details countless orchestrated moments, crowds carefully positioned around the couple, all set up just for the cameras. Predictably, the foundation fiercely rejected these accusations, calling them disgusting and deeply disrespectful. Meanwhile, a spokesman for Harry dismissed the book outright, labeling it deranged. Drama and wild speculation erupted, loud and distracting, but completely missing the core issue. No one ever reclaimed that nickname, because you don't undo 11 years as chief executive just with a simple press release. And when she unexpectedly skipped Birmingham, every person who had been mocking it as the Meghan Games got to witness the fallout unfold right there in the sponsorship reports just 3 days later. Intriguing, isn't it? Now, turning our attention to the broader empire, what we're seeing isn't just a bad month, it's a complete unraveling. San Barbe, the charity he established in Diana's memory, the one project he could proudly showcase, filed a defamation lawsuit against him on March 24th. After July, crickets. No hearing dates announced, no defense statements issued, just silence as the clock keeps ticking. Meanwhile, African Parks remains locked in, with him refusing to step down despite mounting pressures. Artswell suffered a downgrade, losing its prestigious Netflix deal and settling for a first-look arrangement, a Hollywood euphemism for, "We'll think about it, but don't hold your breath." Then, in a move that shocked many, on March 6th, Netflix completely pulled its funding from her brand. This was no gentle exit, no respectful reorganization with a carefully crafted statement to save face. The investors simply exited. Every enterprise these two built is now contracting, embroiled in lawsuits, or already defunct. Fast forward to August 28th, and there are two critical developments. First, a hefty £26 million from the Ministry of Defence, secured and waiting, set up by those who predicted he might come up short. Invictus remains stable. Someone took great pains to ensure it. The second check is somewhere between £8 million and nearly £10 million, specifically £950,624.37. This sum lingered in the shadows. No one had stashed it away. No one had guaranteed it. For 12 long years, he was just a signature on checks penned by others, a mere name, a placeholder. Then, on the 28th of August, he discovered what his very own handwriting was truly worth, a figure that would finally settle everything and close the chapter on a turbulent saga. Imagine if that one number in the entire fiasco had swung the other way, what would have happened? In July, a YouGov tracker painted a surprising picture. Harry had just lost the most monumental case of his life. 97 serious allegations dismissed. A legal battle that cost him 9 figures had ended in the worst possible way with a tally against him. And yet, his approval rating climbed by a surprising 6 points, landing at 33%. Why did this happen? What sparked this shift? It all happened on a single afternoon, right in his father's home. No heartfelt apology, no tell-all book, no exclusive interview, no major public rebranding, just a quiet moment spent with the king. And suddenly, the kingdom's collective sentiment shifted. 6 points. Now, some might say 33% is still far from a victory, but it's not the raw number that counts, it's the trajectory and the context. When stacked up against her numbers, it tells a remarkable story. She holds only 22% positive sentiment, with a staggering 65% viewing her unfavorably. One recent poll even dropped her approval down to 18%. So, there it stands, an unexpected path back to public favor. That route leads right through Windsor, through a simple meeting over tea with his father. And the proof is in the numbers, it really works. That quiet reconciliation. But here's a twist, there is precisely one seat in that car. She stepped away from the countdown, and within 72 hours the money started streaming back in. How convenient. Yet, her name remained mysteriously absent from that entire claim. The stage is set, the players in motion, and the journey back is unfolding in ways no one quite expected. Her name doesn't appear anywhere in the recovery documents. The one route that's ever boosted his figures is the very path she's barred from taking. Reports suggest the palace is already drafting contingency plans. What happens if he moves forward without her by his side? Then, on August 28th, everything hinges on the number he owes. Meanwhile, she's well aware of her own value, 18%. Welcome to Star Spotlight, the place where we dive into the filings others ignore, spotlight the individuals everyone else forgets, and stick with stories long after the paparazzi have turned their lenses elsewhere. The games will press on, the veterans will battle it out, and 25 nations will gather in Birmingham come July 2027. Yet the only two people truly without a place to be are the very two who once believed the world orbited around them. Think about that. So, here's the real question. When he walks back through that door alone, will she follow him, or will she finally find the strength to walk away for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Don't forget to smash that like button. It truly helps this channel connect with more people who care deeply about these stories. And hit subscribe, because there's so much more on the horizon this week. That final cost judgment could drop any day now, and the moment it does, we'll jump straight into breaking down who really foots the bill and how it impacts the half dozen other names tied into that claim. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.